my goodness. Can you see that? Hey everyone, my name is Christoph Jakob. I'm a music composer for video games. Some weeks ago I started my second YouTube channel, a gaming and streaming channel. Subscribe if you have not already. And the first game we've been playing for a couple of weeks now is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I somehow managed to not get spoiled at all, and I've been having a lot of fun so far. Today let's check out Colgate, the toothpaste? Huh? Oh, Colgera, okay. No one is there, I'm just talking to the air. Like and subscribe if you have not already, and let's go. Oh. Already having a melody. What a beautiful melody. Ah, what a nice chord change. First of all, there seem to be 6 or 7 different phases to this boss theme, depending on which video you've clicked on. I am gonna listen to them all, but I won't show my reaction to absolutely everything. Otherwise, this video would be unnecessarily long, and I don't want that. Phase 1 of this boss theme starts with a very early and strong melody. It's quite a simplistic melody too. Sounds like it's played by some sort of tin whistle maybe. The tin whistle in particular is something that I instantly associate with Octopath Traveler. If you told me that this boss theme was from Octopath Traveler, I probably would have believed you. At least regarding the overall instrumentation of the music. In general, there seem to be a lot of woodwind instruments in Colgera's theme, which makes sense, I'd say, for an area that is focusing on and around wind. One thing I just have to point out, and this could be a little far-fetched, and many of you viewers might simply be too young or not interested in this kind of stuff, but I'm hearing a very interesting little motif in the background. Colgera, for those who don't know, is a giant ice creature thingy. And I don't know if this is just me, but fighting an ice creature while hearing this motif in the background... Is this a Game of Thrones reference? This repeating motif is the most prominent motif in Game of Thrones, which also just happens to be about ice creatures. It could be a coincidence, of course, but that just grabbed my attention instantly. As for the chords, I think the boss theme could barely be any more simplistic. It's essentially just playing a B minor chord, casually switching to G major here and there. In the context of B minor, G major is the so-called flat 6 chord that I've talked about in so many of my videos, which always tends to add some intensity, some heroism, some epicness, and also some emotion sometimes. Da, 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 da. I love how triumphant this sounds. Also nice runs in the background by the string instruments. Very nice. The second half of phase 1 introduces brass instruments. While they technically aren't woodwind instruments, I mean they are brass instruments after all, you do play them using your own breath, so wind so to speak as well. This entire second half is essentially just one single chord, B minor. I love how the low string instruments just keep hammering on that B note throughout the entire tune, making it clear that this is the key. I think Colgera's theme is also a prime example for showing just how impactful a simplistic piece of music can be. You don't need 1,000 chords, key or tempo changes to make a tune that grabs your attention. A solid melody can really go a long way. Melodies that jump around randomly and making huge leaps and whatnot don't really grab our attention as much as very simplistic melodies. The brass section here, for example, is just moving up the minor scale. The brass section here, for example, is just moving up the minor scale. Ooh, much more intense already. Oh. Also, the key sounds different. This reminds me so much of Game of Thrones. Sounds just like Phase 1 so far though. Phase 2 sounds significantly more intense already. I'd say solely due to the threatening intro alone. The focus on the Game of Thrones motif is even more apparent here than it had already been in Phase 1. The entire tune also moved from B minor up to C minor, so it's one semitone higher. Raising the key tends to add additional tension to a piece of music, and that's pretty much the only major thing that changed between Phase 1 and Phase 2. Another small element that you may not even have noticed happened in the intro section here. You could hear those creepy reversed voice samples that you could also hear in the beginning segment of the game. Much more intense already. Oh. I made a video about that, though admittedly that was 4 months ago or something like that, so I don't blame you if you haven't watched it. My assumption is that these voices may symbolize the evil in Tears of the Kingdom. I've heard them in other tracks here and there during my playthrough as well, usually when some sort of evil or big enemy was approaching. Oh, this sounds so evil. Things are starting to get real. It's still the same kind of melody though. Oh! Phase 3 is once again higher pitched than the previous phases. We've moved from B minor up to C minor, and now we've moved up to D minor. I sadly can't really explain why, but to me there's barely anything more intense and threatening sounding than starting in a minor key and then moving the key up by 3 semitones. Here's a random chord progression to show you what I mean. The elevation in the overall harmony makes total sense in the context of the game. I mean, an area about bird people, you're high up in the sky. Those harmonic decisions just evoke the feeling of rising higher and higher. The melodic movement is still essentially the same as in the previous phases, but the melody is getting a little more bold now, hitting several unusual notes that are very tense in the context of a minor key. This is how it sounds like. The inclusion of the flat 6, as well as especially the major 7th on top of a minor chord, just adds so much tension. This is actually a kind of chord that I think I've never mentioned in any of my videos so far. A so-called minor major 7 chord. In my opinion, this might just be the most dissonant and disturbing sounding chord that is still very much usable when writing music though. Oh, that's a new part. Very chopped up. What a melody. Sounds familiar too. I feel like I've heard this melody before. Feel the intensity here. Oh gosh. It's building up to something. It's about to explode. Nope. Ah. Very interesting. I expected it to do something else entirely, actually. This entire part we just heard was entirely new, actually. And I'd say even more tense than the previous sections. The tune changed from having a normal and quite straightforward rhythm in 4/4 to something that sounds quite chopped up. Oh. That's a new part. Surprising the listener, adding stuff they just may not expect can be an effective tool for making music sound threatening, odd, awkward, and outlandish. I mean, if done right. I also adore this entire build-up before this phase loops. The reversed vocals are getting louder and louder as well. Ah, what a chord change. Sounds so heroic and triumphant. It doesn't sound evil anymore at all. Ah, Dragon Roost. Oh my. This fits in there perfectly. Wow. Sounds so heroic. Oh my goodness. Can you see that? Nintendo composers just know how to write amazing melodies. I'm admittedly a little sad that I didn't really notice it while playing it in-game, but this final section sounds so intense, heroic, emotional, and epic. It legit leaves me a little speechless. While all the previous phases clearly sounded like Colgera's theme, I'd say this final section actually sounds more like it's your theme. I don't think I really need to point it out, but that reference to Dragon Roost Island from Wind Waker just kills me. It's technically such a simple melody, yet the chords behind that melody are the reason it sounds so epic in the first place.
What is the lesson we're learning here, kids? Add a kazumba into your music and you'll write hits.
What an absolute banger of a boss theme. I can't wait to play the game more and see what else it has in store. If you didn't know, I'm streaming this game on my second channel every now and then. Check the pinned message below and the description. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you want me to cover more Tears of the Kingdom. And I'll see you all next time.